Between the years of 1913 to 1930, Lon Chaney appeared in over 150 movies. One of the silent era's most in-demand character actors, it was his acting and makeup skills that would help him earn the nickname the Man of a Thousand Faces. Hello and welcome to my channel where we talk all things movie and movie history related. If you find this video informative, then please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and let me know in the comments what your favorite Lon Chaney movie is if you have seen some of them. Now without further ado, let's get into some movie history. Lon Chaney was born Leonidas Frank Chaney on April 1st, 1883 in Colorado Springs, Colorado. The son of deaf parents, his mom from birth, and his dad due to a childhood illness, he would learn to communicate through pantomime and facial expressions from a very early age. Jump to him being 9 years old, his mom falls ill and as a result, he's forced to drop out of school in order to take care of her. During this time, he would entertain her with stories of what was going on in the neighborhood through pantomime and facial expressions. Little did he know at the time that he was developing the skill set that would benefit him later on in life. Jump to 1901 and he's working at a local opera house alongside his older brother. And during this time, the two wrote and appeared in a play called The Little Tycoon. The success of this play not only resulted in Lon Chaney beginning his theater career, but also saw him beginning his life on the road. It was during this time that Chaney met and fell in love with dancer Cleva Creighton. After they fell in love, the two would get married, and in 1906, Creighton would give birth to his one and only son, Creighton Tull Chaney, who would later go on to become Lon Chaney Jr. following his father's death. Now in 1910, the family would find success in California and have a steady career there. While Cleva would work as a dancer, Chaney would find success as an actor, choreographer, and stage manager. Unfortunately, their success would also result in them becoming jealous of each other, and it all reached a boiling point in 1913. While Chaney was working one of his shows, Cleva walked into his theater and swallowed a vial of mercury, attempting to commit suicide. While Cleva fortunately survived, the effects of the mercury would permanently damage her vocal cords, and her singing career was cut to an early stop. Shortly after this, the two would divorce, and Chaney would no longer be able to work in theater, so he made the transition to the motion picture business. His first credited performance would be in the 1913 movie Poor Jake's Demise, a movie that was partially rediscovered in a private collection in 2006. Between the years of 1913 and 1918, Chaney would appear in over 100 movies. It was also during this time that he met and married Hazel Hastings, and the two would remain married until his death. Now, it's also during this time that Chaney would begin to master his skill set with makeup, and by 1916, he would be named in Motion Picture Weekly as the Master of Makeup. We now jump to the year 1919, and Chaney appears in a movie called The Miracle Man, a lost film where he plays a con man who fakes being crippled as part of a faith healing scheme. It would be this movie specifically, thanks to his ability to contort his body in a way that made people think he was genuinely crippled, that would help him become one of the 1920s most in-demand actors. Now, some of his most notable movies during the 1920s include the 1924 movie He Who Gets Slapped, where he plays a scientist who becomes a clown after being robbed of his success, along with the 1926 movie Tell It to the Marines, in which he was actually made an honorary member of the Marine Corps due to his performance in the movie. But this obviously would not be a Lon Chaney movie if we don't talk about his two most iconic movies, The Hunchback of Notre Dame and The Phantom of the Opera. Beginning with The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1923, he wore a harness and hump that in total weighed over 50 pounds, and it was this kind of dedication to his craft that not only kept him in demand through the 1920s, but also helped him convey the pain that so many of his characters went through. And just 2 years later, he appeared in arguably his most well-known performance as the Phantom in Universal's adaptation of The Phantom of the Opera. For this performance, he would use spirit gum to pull his ears and nose back in order to make his face appear more like a skull. And a fun fact is that this makeup was deemed so terrifying back in 1925 that all photographs of it were banned before the movie's release. It's also worth mentioning, though, that just a few years later, Hollywood began to transition from silent films to talkies. While he did resist at first, Chaney would eventually star in his one and only talkie movie, The Unholy Three, in 1930. Playing a conman ventriloquist in the movie, he would actually sign an affidavit stating that every voice he did in the movie was his own. As always, Chaney received nothing but praise for his performance, and Universal was even planning on casting him in their upcoming production of Dracula. Unfortunately, there was just one small problem with those plans. While filming his last silent film Thunder in 1929, Chaney would develop pneumonia, which eventually turned into terminal lung cancer. Despite the diagnosis being terminal, he told no one during filming of The Unholy Three, and just a few weeks after its release on August 26, 1930, he died at the age of 47 years old. And he was so respected at this point in his career that on the day of his funeral, every single studio in Hollywood halted production to observe a moment of silence. Before I go, I want to thank you for watching the video, and if you enjoyed it, please be sure to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe for some more movie history and movie content in general. And let me know in the comments again what your favorite Lon Chaney movie is if you have seen some of them. And until next time, my name is Nick Leland, thank you for watching this video, and have a great day.